We are going to waste no time here because we had a little bit of tech issues. So here's hoping this works. The chairman of the African People's Socialist Party, Omali Yeshitela. Omali, can you hear us?
Yes, yes. Can you hear me okay?
Yes,
we hear
beautiful.
you.
We made it.
All right. We have liftoff.
We have
Yes.
liftoff.
Right
Thank you
on.
so much for joining us. Pleasure to meet you. Appreciate you being here so much. And sorry for any technical snafus that we had, and sorry to the audience we're a couple minutes late. But thank you so much for joining today. It's a real honor to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's good to be with you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, folks, we're just going to jump right into this. No small talk today. So, Omali, would you give us just a brief introduction to yourself and the Uhuru movement? These were some of the press materials you sent us. This is you back in the 1960s, and then here you are throughout the years. Could you just give us a brief overview for those who might not be familiar with Uhuru or the African People's Socialist Party?
Well, I want to thank you very much, first of all, for having us, because it's been difficult trying to break out of this information encirclement that we've encountered through the regular corporate, state-sponsored, supported media. So I want to thank you very much. My name, as you said, is Omali Yeshitela. I'll be 83 years old in October of this year. And for most of my life, I've been involved in the struggle for Black freedom. And I was a member of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, SNCC, that in 1966 put forth a public demand slogan of Black Power, which had determined that the struggle that we were involved in had gone beyond the simple concept of trying to integrate into the system, but recognized that as a people, we have to have power over our own lives. We wanted to escape from the clutches of the Democratic Party that had so many times double-crossed us. Well, the entire system had so many times double-crossed us, and we wanted to fight for self-determination. So I was a part of that movement. And most of my life, I've been a part of that movement. And so in 1966, the Black Power struggle happened, SNCC happened. In the last part of 1966, I went to prison. I was jailed in December 29, 1966 for snatching a mural off the wall of the City Hall of St. Petersburg that had been there for a few decades that represent a caricature of Black people with extended limbs and huge pink lips over most of our face and over the faces, and it was supposed to be representative of Black people. We had asked the mayor to take it down, asked the city council to take it down. Black people had been asked them to do that for years, and they had refused to do it. So on December 29, 1966, SNCC led a group of demonstrators to the city hall. Actually, what we were struggling around was the city of St. Petersburg had was receiving something like $50 million in federal funds. And they were going to use that money to beautify, to plant flowers in downtown St. Petersburg. And we were saying that money needs to be certainly a huge sector of it for economic development for our communities. The time when there were no real streets, and the Black community was sand and what have you. This is Florida we're talking about, so sand, just horrible circumstances. And we were restricted to a 2-mile radius of where we could live by law in that city. So the mayor told us that we should really learn how not to be so sensitive, and that we knew he was not a racist and he was a nice guy. And we were setting our struggle back by asking them to remove the mural. Anyway, the mural was torn down. I was charged with something like 11 offenses for tearing that mural down, me and 5 other members of SNCC. And then I was, most of the charges were misdemeanors, and they charged me also with a felony, grand larceny, and sentenced me to 5 years in prison for that. So I was in and out of prison for about 2.5 years based on that. And this is a high tide of struggle of African people at this time in this country. And the system was frightened by this thing they had seen with new young Black people who were no longer just willing to Wait Forever for Freedom, et cetera, and who were engaged in direct action. That was one of the things SNCC was characterized for. And so, as I said, I was out on bond after a while on appeal bond. And then I was out for 4 days and had been asked to come into Gainesville, Florida, which was 150 miles or so north of St. Petersburg, to participate in demonstrations because some young Black people had been locked up there, and they wanted me to participate because I had achieved a certain element of renown. And when I got off the Greyhound bus in Gainesville, Florida, I learned that Martin Luther King had been killed. He was killed on the way there. So the whole nature of the demonstration that we were going to attend changed. And so I'm out now for 4 days. 4 days later, the demonstration happens. I get the first person arrested in the state of Florida for inciting to riot. And the incitement to riot statute did not require a riot to happen. I just had to want a riot to occur. So they locked me up for inciting to riot. Again, a speech offense is what they locked me up for. And I was locked up for half a month rather, on that charge. They came off the bond at the same time for the other charge that I was for that had imprisoned me. And so I was locked up for another half month before they could secure bond to get me out. I get out, and then the sanitation workers in St. Petersburg, Florida, go on strike. So the Attorney General of the state of Florida goes to my bondman and have them come off my bond so that I couldn't get back to St. Petersburg, where the Black sanitation workers go on strike. And so I was locked up for another half month. I finally made bond and had to escape Gainesville and on the floorboards of the backseat of a car, and then engaged in the whole sanitation workers movement. And stemming from that, there was an organization that we created called JOMO, and from that we created in 1972 the African People's Socialist Party. So that's sort of the trajectory that we were on.
Please clap.